All right, everybody, I'm going to teach you how to use a protractor today, and the protractor that I'm actually going to use is going to be the PDF or the worksheet that I sent to you. So what I did here is the one that I sent to you. Obviously, it had two protractors on it. All I did was I cut out one of them. So I just went around the bottom and then around the oval. And when I did that and I cut it out, you're left with a protractor. So the first thing that you need to do after you cut it out, and I'll try to get close so that you can see this. Do you all see right here in the middle, right there where, whoa, let me put it up there. There we go. Hey, there I am. Right here in the middle where the cross or the perpendicular lines are, etc. What we're going to do is we're actually going to put a hole right there in that. And so what I have is a pretty sharp pencil. You can use anything. But what you're going to do is you're going to poke a hole right there where where the perpendicular lines or the axis or whatever you want to call it is. So what I'm going to do real quick, and you want to be gentle, you just need a little hole in it, is put a hole right there. And so as you can see, it's kind of hard to see on the video, but I did put a hole, okay? And I'm going to explain why we did that here right now. So what we use a protractor for is to measure an angle's degrees. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you how to draw with a protractor first, and then we'll go backwards and I'll show you how to use a protractor so that you can measure an angle. So the first thing you need to do is you need to draw a ray. And when we draw rays, we need to make them straight. So you need a straight edge. So if you have a ruler, you can use a ruler. Hit pause, go get your ruler. If you don't, go get a piece of paper. So hit pause, go get a piece of paper. All right, so now that you're back, so I'm going to use a piece of paper just to show you all how to do this at home if you don't have a ruler. But I take a piece of paper and I usually just fold it in half. And I usually use the creased line, or the crease side, because that way, in case I folded it incorrectly, it's at least just one crease. And so what we want to do is we want to draw a straight line, or one ray. So I'm going to put this on my whiteboard, and I'm going to draw a straight line. Now here's the biggest thing about the straight line. It has to be longer than where your hole is on your protractor to one of the sides. Here's what I mean. You see that hole on the protractor? You're going to put it at the end of one of your rays. Okay? So I'm going to put it directly on here. Okay? And it's hard to see on the video, but if I got real close, you could see the red line through my protractor because that's where the hole is. So that hole is on the red line. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to twist, and I'm going to try to get my video camera closer. This is really comfortable. It's like in my lap. All right, so what you want to do is, do you see how this black line, the thick black line on your protractor is going across? Well, it wants to go straight across and line up with the zero. And do you see right here on the zero, there's a dark line right next to the zero, the big giant zero on your protractor? That dark line should extend right onto the red line. So it's basically making a straight line from the center of your protractor where the hole is, all the way across that dark line through the 180, through the zero, and then it's going to come out to that red line. So when you make a line, it has to be longer than your protractor. So mine is longer because I can still see the red line coming out the end of my protractor, okay? So the next thing is we're going to make a second measure. And so let's make it easy. We're going to pretend that we're going to be measuring 35 degrees. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start right here on my protractor, and we always start with 0. So I'm on 0, and I'm going to count up to 35. Well, I'm going to count the 10, 20, whoops, my protractor shifting. I gotta make sure I hold it still. 10, 20, 30, and then there's a dark line in between 30 and 40. So right where that dark line is on my protractor between 30 and 40, I'm gonna put a dot because that is 35 degrees. Then the last step is to take your straight edge, again I'm using a piece of paper, and you're gonna line it up with your ray over here where the dot is in that line. So I'm going to line them up, make sure it's nice and steady, and then I'm going to draw my line. And so that is how you can use a protractor to draw a 35-degree angle. So let's do one more. I'm going to keep my ray on there because I don't want to redraw it for video's sake. But let's do one that's going to be an obtuse angle. An obtuse angle is greater than 90 degrees. So let's do 110 degrees. That's bigger than 90. So again, I'm going to get my protractor out. I'm going to put my hole right on the end. I'm going to line up my black line so that it looks like kind of straight. And then it goes straight through the 0 in the black line all the way to the red line. So it's an extension. But this time I'm going to start with 0 but count all the way to 110 degrees. So I'm going to go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. 110 is way over here. And I'm going to put a dot. I'm going to get rid of my protractor. I'm going to move my video a little bit so you can see it. I'm going to get out my straight edge. I'm going to go back to my one dot, and I'm going to line it up with my second dot. And then I'm going to draw that. And this is going to be a 110-degree angle. That's it. That's how you draw angles. So the other thing I was going to tell you is how do you measure angles, right? So basically the same way. I'm just going to draw a random angle, and I'm going to make sure my lines are bigger than my protractor. So I'm going to go way wide. Now I can tell right now this bad boy is an obtuse angle because it's greater than 90 degrees. My alligator mouth is huge. So it is an obtuse angle, but what obtuse angle is it? So what I do, I take my handy dandy protractor and I'm going to put my hole right on the vertex. That's where the two rays meet. So I'm going to put it right there so I can even draw a bigger dot so that you all can see it. I'm going to put my hole right on that dot. And then again, I'm going to line this up so that my black line goes straight into this red line over here. Okay? So then I'm going to start at 0 and count all the way around until I get to this other ray over here. So I'm going to go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 120, 30, 40. There's 145, and it's a couple of lines past 145. So this is going to be about a 147-degree angle. Now, some of you all are sitting there thinking, saying, hey, Mr. Drake, there's a 0 on the other side too. What's up with that? Well, sometimes we have to turn, depending on how the angle is, we just have to turn it. So let's pretend I want to start with this angle. Again, I put my hole right here, and then I line up my black line going on this other ray, and it shoots out the 0 on that side. Well, now I can count backwards around to this one, and it should be the same. Now I got to line mine up a little bit better. I'm not on my dot. I'm going to get on my dot. So when I count back around, I'm counting 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 140, and it goes to 145, 46, 147. So both ways, it doesn't matter which way you count from your protractor, as long as the end that you're lined up that's straight, That's going to start with 0, and then you work your way around. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to help you. If you're confused, maybe you're using a protractor that's different from the paper one and you just don't get it, I can try to help you with your video camera. We'll do the best that we can. We'll try to see it, and I'll be able to help you. Okay, see you all.